think that was an impact. Mr. Scharfschütze.
Yeah. Let's do it.
150. Get it going. Impact. You're using a 300 meter
300,
zero?
Yeah, 300 zero.
Yeah. You're right at the top of that plate with the 300 meter zero.
Okay.
I'm out at 200. I think you hit it. Neutralized. On at 250. You know, you load faster if you have bullet loops, Henry.
What are we on?
250 for your neutralized shot.
Why didn't you bring me my bullet loops?
Neutralized.
Where were the impacts on that one?
I think they were in the upper right. 300. Impact. Oh, yeah.
Where the fuck I am?
You're at 350. Just high on the right edge. Still on the right side, but good elevation on that one, and a hefty impact, as they say.
That was center punch?
It was on the right edge, but the elevation, I believe, was good. That, on.
It was a little low, I think the impact was a little low.
Yeah. Impact.
Is that on the right side?
Yes, it was on the right side of the target. Impact. Okay, 450. Impact.
Center?
Yes. Impact. Almost stacked the bullet.
Nice.
That's crazy. That was like within maybe an inch and a half. Alright, I'm on the IPSC on the left at 500.
Okay.
Impact.
Huh?
Impact.
Oh.
Just low, it would be where his hips would be. So maybe a third of a turn. But your windage is great. I believe, again, just under, just slightly under. I believe that was left edge.
Left edge?
Left edge. Impact. Good center hit.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yes, we are.
So we cleared it out to 500. I mean, we've got a comparison with the Enfield, right?
Yeah.
Using similar techniques of 300 to 500 meters zero, which the Germans actually did that too. The longest confirmed kill on the Kar98k was done by a Gefreiter Matthias Hetzenauer, and it was 1100 meters, so that's 1.1 kilometers.
Wow. So we're gonna try taking this thing to
1 kilometer.
1K.
You want to do that?
Let's do it. Let's see if we can walk it in out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's maxing the scope out too.
For sure.
Right in front? Huh?
It was good windage. It's low by a full target and a little bit more.
Saw it. Left?
Yep, on the left edge. Looked to be about the same spot.
That was a hit.
Looked to be about the same spot.
I think that was an impact.
The first shot was actually on the bottom left of the plate. The second shot, we pushed it to the bottom right of the plate. Those are both consecutive shots.
I think that.
So, as you see, that was a hit on both of those last two shots at 1 kilometer. I hit those last two. I hit those last two, Josh. I'm enjoying my chicken. My henshin. So good.
I think that was an impact. I'm like 95% sure. Just did a quick double check on the video to make sure that it was indeed an impact. Hit 1 kilometer with a 4x optic, an ancient 4x optic.
It was, I think this serial number, it was made in 1939 or
Crazy.
something like that.
So at a kilometer.
Yeah.
Now, it took a couple shots to basically walk it in there. Like, you were taking shots, I was seeing where they were impacting, and we were making adjustments.
Right. When I shoot tactical scopes, I like not dialing windage.
Right.
Which, running a German scope, because I don't dial windage, it actually works in my favor to be practicing on that, because the German scopes don't dial on windage.
Right. And you
Well-
prefer, so you dial your elevation in many cases, but you prefer to hold your windage, at least
Right.
with modern
Precisely.
optics.
When I was pushing all the way out there, and I had to use, basically I was looking through the scope, I was finding reference points for me to point the different angles of the scope on to find a reference point on where I could hold it. So when I fired the first shot, so it was maxed out at 950 yards, so it's about 900 meters. When I maxed it out already, I saw the first shot, I saw where it was, and then I took a mental image of it, and then I moved the scope to where I thought it was, and I looked on the scope where I could find a reference point, and it was the bottom corner of the right radii of the scope, and so I used that to point at the target to the right of it. So I was actually aiming at the target of the right of it, and then I was observing where the impact was from there.
Gotcha.
And then I made fine adjustments from there to walk it in.
Yeah.
So there were a couple major scope companies that made glass for the Wehrmacht. You've got Heinzold, you have Kales, Zeiss, of course, AJAC, and then Optical Technica to a smaller extent.
Yeah.
Back in the day, actually Optical Technica was Techna was used more by the SS because the Wehrmacht didn't like sharing procurement channels with them, so they pushed them to do their own thing.
Interesting.
Their Optical Technas they actually had a really cool dial that you rotated, and that would be your elevation dial, and it went all the way up to 11 or 1200 meters. One of the coolest thing about German snipers back then, unlike your Americans, your Brits, well, the Americans went into the war with no sniper program. Despite having all the knowledge from World War I, they thought that sniping people was an ungentlemanly practice. People saw them as murderers and assassins and just terrible people. Germany actually went into the war with a functioning sniper program, and they were also the ones with a functioning sniper program at the beginning of World War I. So the Germans actually have a really long lineage of having extremely good sniper fieldcraft. When it comes to observations, when it comes to movement, concealment, marksmanship, the Germans actually did extremely well with training people. They issue the heavy ball, but then snipers actually have their own sniper ammunition.
And weren't they like the only group?
They were the only country that had a sniper variant ammunition.
Right.
That was issued. It was the boat tail heavy ball ammo, but it had no cannelure, so no crimping cannelure to really mess with the trajectory. And then on top of that, the powder was more precisely measured.
So basically equivalent to a match load, as we would call it today.
It's like our snipers getting issued the M118LR.
Gotcha.
The Germans were the only country that issued special ammo.
So
to their
how did
snipers.
the ballistic coefficient of that round stack up?
It's actually better than your 175 Sierra Match Kings.
That's pretty crazy.
The Russians, always worked in groups. The Germans trained groups, but they ended up deploying a lot of them solo snipers.
Right.
And some of them would end up behind enemy lines concealed for a long time, and then the Americans came through and then he's stuck. Like the Saving Private Ryan sniper.
Right.
That is actually something very visible, that some sniper was stuck in a bell tower for a while.
Yeah, like perched up for a bit.
Yeah. If you look back at the footage, Caparzo he was pointing around. Mm-hmm. From an officer's perspective, you don't want to be in the open field pointing around because you look like a damn officer to a sniper.
Maybe completely by accident, but when you look back at that scene and then think about the reality of that situation, feasible. How was it when you compare it to, say, like the Enfield? Like the Enfield, you put up a very solid, respectable run with it.
Yeah.
How did this feel and compare? Obviously, the round's hitting quite a bit harder.
It's slower, the round hits harder. One of the things, the Enfield is a lot easier to run. It has a cheek piece. Having a cheek piece itself is so much nicer. The Germans never gave these things cheek pieces.
Buttstock is not very large, so it kind of sits down on top of your pectoral, right?
Right.
And so when you take
It's
the shot,
slipping.
it slips underneath your pectoral.
And that's why I'm wearing a jacket, because earlier I was wearing just the shirt and it was slipping off my shirt. And it
Interesting.
swacked me in the face.
Yeah.
So, that's something I'm not a German sniper, but it's potentially something that they had to work through.
Yeah.
It's just how their system was developed. Even on their turrets, on their high turrets, on the high turret mounts, on the long side rail mounts, they're all high so they could use their iron sights. That was something the Germans always did.
That was a pretty clean run up close, out to the 500, and then pretty awesome to see us being able to stretch the rifle out.
Man, I have all the respect for Mr. Heutzenauer.
That's crazy.
Being able to do that, as
Under
a
combat
confirmed
conditions
kill,
too.
Yeah. Because a lot of times their snipers are curled up in some weird position for a long time.
not in a perfect prone shooting position like we are.
I believe he was on the Eastern Front too, so your digits are a little cold. You're not getting all your feeling, and still being able to focus and bushwhack a target like that.
Well, good run.
It's fun. That was fun.
This is Kar98k. 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green. How copy, over?
Still 96, this is 716, roger, over. 16, still 91, 1 pack, green, green, over. This is 716, roger, over.
16, still 92, 1 Victor, 2 packs, Redcon 1, over.